This is the Enjoyer Podcast. I'm your host, James Dixon. You might not be interested in AI, in artificial intelligence, but AI is interested in you, and it's not going away. I admit it. When I personally think about AI, I only see the downsides. For one, it's creepy. The images, the videos produced with AI are so obviously not the work of human hands, so obviously soulless as to be off-putting. I think about that corporate Memphis style that we've all come to hate, and we talk a lot about on Twitter. When I see AI art, that's what I see. And when they try to depict humans, it's, six fingers, six toes. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. And I wonder if the badness actually is meant to make people think of it as harmless. I still don't think of it as harmless. Anyway, for decades, I've been going back and forth with friends on Facebook. I went to Michigan. We were among the first cohorts in 2004 after Harvard student Mark Zuckerberg started it to get it. And so, look, sometimes those conversations get heated, and sometimes you do have to let people go. That part never bothered me. I've always known that people are in your life for seasons. But a line was crossed recently. A friend actually used AI to make an argument. And I find that more off-putting than being called a name or accused of something. You can spot AI written text immediately. It all but glows in the dark. Somebody who's never had an opinion on anything more serious than perhaps the best Chili Peppers album is suddenly able to pepper you with 2,000 words on the theory that Democrats and Republicans switched parties in the 60s, you've got a problem. The 2,000 words might be brilliant. They might be accurate, but they're also worthless because they do not come from a human hand. They are not the result of one man's search for truth. They're a cold distillation of other people's ideas, not informed by a human soul. You can scroll past it and know you're not missing anything. So I'm an AI skeptic, if not AI negative. The most I can concede is that these days it's better than Google because Google has made itself worse. And so my guest today, David Derigiotis, is here to help us understand AI. You don't have to love it. I don't love it. I may not come out of this conversation loving it, but we should at least understand it. Is AI for you? Is AI not for you? My hope is that by the end of this conversation, you'll have that answer. David, welcome to the Enjoyer Podcast.
Thanks, James. Great to be here with you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time today. Let's start here. Could you tell us about yourself and your interest in artificial intelligence?
Yeah, you got it. I've been in the specialty insurance industry for 21 years now at this point, and currently I work for an AI-powered wholesale insurance brokerage. So AI is at the core of what we do. We focus on all things cyber risk. So we help insure businesses that are concerned with ransomware events or data breaches, cyber attacks. We provide professional liability, directors and officers insurance. But AI is such an important part of what we do. We develop and we create AI tools not to replace people, but to aid them, to give them support, to give them increased capabilities, to provide a better job, a better service to the clients that we represent.
Absolutely. So I mentioned it in the intro, there's an AI skepticism out there, if not hostility.
Yeah.
When you hear from skeptics or critics of AI, where does it come from? Do they say the things I say? Do they say different things? Is it just the newness? Or you, as someone who knows about it, is there some specific reason we should have to be worried?
Yeah, the things that you bring up and the concerns that you have are valid, and I hear them ring true in other people's perspective and their thoughts on AI. And I get it, I understand it. It comes from a place, I think, of fear, and it comes from a place of not fully understanding the technology. You hear a lot of negative headlines with AI. It's going to sweep across all industries. They're going to be jobs being replaced. People are going to be helpless, not able to do the work that they were previously able to do to earn a paycheck to make a living. And I understand it. And there is some validity to that. There are certainly some segments, some industries, some jobs that will be displaced. But at the same time, AI will also afford the ability for new roles, for new jobs, for different roles for individuals. So it's something that we're not going to stop. It's like I see it as this massive tidal wave that's coming towards us, James. And we can either grab the surfboard, jump on and embrace it and ride that wave, or we can run head on into it and just get overturned and overtaken by the sheer power that's coming. I get it. There's a lot of fear certainly around it. It's change.
Yeah, I mean, you had in your talk at your TED talk at U of M Dearborn, you were talking about a McDonald's in Texas that had entirely replaced staff with AI and robots and that kind of thing. A very fourth industrial revolution to do so, and that hit me weird because one of my first jobs was in McDonald's, and so the idea that we're all going to be better off because 14-year-old JD can't have some jingle in his pocket from getting a beginner job because some robot, better off doing what? And the idea that, okay, the business owner might be better off. Is the community better off when people are denied these opportunities to work? And it sounds a lot like what we heard about globalization, that if you don't embrace it, it'll get to you anyway. I don't know that that was true. It seems like we pushed our way toward that door as opposed to just whatever happens, happens. Um, is it necessarily true that AI has to affect us?
I do think it has to affect us. And you talked about the different use cases, being able to create images where there are six fingers, or you can tell no problem that
Right.
something was written by AI. And I think while that's true, you have to remember, and I've said this before, the state that it's in now is the worst it will
Hmm.
ever be.
Hmm.
It is only going to get better from here on out. So the roles and the tasks that it's able to perform, you're going to see increase, like an evolution. You're going to see increased capability in all of these different areas. And you're right. The maybe in some cases the business is better off, and the people that were in these roles, they are absolutely not better off because the role that they had, the job that they were performing, has been replaced. And we're going to see robotics catch up with the whole AI world. So you're going to see the hardware component of things being really blended together with software, and software is the AI component. So you're going to see different services where you have robotics, robots that are able to wait on you hand and foot, robots that are able to deliver packages, robots that are able to do a number of physical tasks that you never thought were going to be possible, today. Yeah, things are changing like crazy.
And you know what I mean? And that's one of those things that people hear and they say, why would we do this?
Yeah. Yeah,
Why?
it's all in the name of technological advancement, right? It's the way things are going to have improved processes, and certainly from the business's standpoint, improved margins, increased cash flow, all of those things. But here's what I want everybody to take away from this: there are going to be greater opportunities for you. But it's important to embrace, and it's important to understand how all of these technologies and all of these capabilities and tools work to use them to your advantage. Because even as it stands today, you have people that are taking advantage of a variety of AI tools, and they're able to outperform other people that simply are not. Their capabilities are able to be increased, whether you're utilizing something simple like Chat GPT, and like you said, you're going in and maybe you're bouncing some questions off of it, or you're using Grok, Elon Musk's AI tool, asking questions, role playing with it back and forth, asking it for advice, and not that you need to take it or you should take it at face value, but it's just like having like another consultant, or maybe somebody that specializes in a certain field that you can ask questions to, that will always be there no matter what time it is, to bounce ideas off of, to draft a wording, to create some artwork, and then you can tweak it and make changes for there, or get inspiration from it. So I think it's important to at least understand how these tools work, to understand how they can benefit you so that you can perform your job better than maybe somebody who unfortunately is not doing it.
What's considered the best AI tool on the market right now?
Yeah, this is something that changes constantly. You have
I bet.
also, yeah, all sorts of new companies are coming to the market. They're offering different trials. They're offering an enhancement in terms of like image generation that's being done, or text to speech, speech to text, things of that nature. ChatGPT is a very strong one. You also have another competing model called Claude's Anthropic by Claude. Very good large language model as well, where you can ask questions. It can generate text and words.
Hmm.
AI is so good with those things. It's so good with understanding language and then providing a response. So I think ChatGPT, very strong model that's out there. Claude by Anthropic, another very good model that's out there. I think Elon Musk's Grok has come a long way as well. And these are all different apps that you can use, many of them for free. So just get familiar with it, and then you can even
Yeah.
test them yourselves to
I
see
use
what you
Grok
like.
the most because it's attached to Twitter and it's
Yeah,
just easiest, but it produces a fair amount of no hits.
yeah, yeah,
It's just, and like you said, I mean, the first one's the worst one, but
yeah.
is that a tactic, or is it actually the legitimate state of play that AI appears to the naked eye to be so ineffective as to make you think it poses no threat in the future?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's an act right now. I think it's just limited by the capabilities that they have. It's just where the
It's baby
models are.
learning how to walk. It's not
That's
Usain
what it
Bolt
is.
sprinting yet.
That's what it is. But it's going to be sprinting very fast. The rate of advancement with these different tools and capabilities, it happens at light speed. So you're certainly not having the same period of a baby learning to crawl, then walk, then run. The time it takes to go from each phase will be the blink of an eye. So
Hmm.
that's something to keep in mind. The models continue to get better. Another one that I want to mention, you talk about some of the best tools that are out there. Perplexity is another outstanding tool to be able to use. It's a level up from Google. It's a search and answer engine where you can ask it questions. It will scour the internet and not just come back with links, but it will come back with responses, and it will have references back to where it gathered that information from. So Perplexity AI, it's a great research tool that I love using. And I find myself using that more than Google when I have questions or I'm doing research and whatever it may be. Great tool to use. And they're also involved with a bid to purchase TikTok. By the way, Perplexity AI.
Holy cow! There must be a pretty
Yeah,
big company already. Um,
yeah,
do you have any thoughts on the right and wrong way to use AI? You talked about, to me, the way I look at it, in my mind's eye, the right way is I've written this essay. Or, for instance, like if I was going to go on Let It Rip, I would say, I'm going to make these and this talking point. How might someone counter that? And I did
yeah,
find that useful, especially if you use like, Chat GPT, because it's kind of the mind of a mid-wit liberal. And so that's likely who you're to be on the Let It Rip stage with. So it's a nice little preview of what you might face. But I have a real problem with someone starting from a blank page and using Chat GPT to put the first writing on the page. Is there a
yeah.
right way and wrong way to do this?
James, 100%. I think taking it as gospel would be the wrong way, wrong way to use it. You have to always fact check. There have to be guardrails around the information that it's giving. There have been instances where like law firms, lawyers have used it to research and provide
Yes.
information on cases, and it produced cases that didn't even exist. So whatever you do in terms of research and putting in information to get back some sort of narrative, you can't take it at face value. You have to verify, and you have to make sure that the responses that are coming back with are valid, true, and accurate. I also think passing it off simply as your own, like you said, a research paper for anybody that's in school, university, high school, whatever it may be,
They're gonna know.
use it 100%, because there's also software that teachers and schools use to be able to identify if something has been written by
Oh
AI.
my
And
God.
yeah, and it's happened plenty of times where students have turned in papers and then the professors are running it through their program and it can come back with, yep, this was generated by AI.
Holy
So
cow.
yes, students have to understand that that's also out there, anti-AI detection. So you can't use it and pass it off as your own. I think of it as like the world's smartest intern, where you can give it work to do for you, but then you always have to check. You always have to validate that it's accurate.
It's funny because there's this guy in journalism, used to be in journalism, Stephen Glass.
Okay.
1998 had a huge scandal at New Republic. It turned out that a story he wrote was not just inaccurate. He not just plagiarized. He was a fabulist. He created characters and scenarios and companies out of whole cloth. And so when the AI would produce a legal citation out of whole cloth, I see that Stephen Glass or even someone who is smart, when cornered, might have that low character moment where they just feel the need to blurt out something as
Yeah.
opposed to admitting I have nothing. Does AI have a character problem?
Well, it certainly can. It's only as good as the data that it's trained on.
Mm,
So you can absolutely see bias and you can see flaws because it's garbage in, garbage out. It depends on where it's got received its
yeah,
information and
yeah.
the quality assurance that went in to generating the responses and prompts. I mean, it makes me think back to Amazon a number of years ago. Amazon used artificial intelligence to be able to pre-screen resumes that were coming in, but it was trained and it had to do with some of the technology roles that they had. And it was trained on existing employees' information to help guide the process to see, okay, what would be a fit. The problem that they found early on is that it was bias and it was being discriminatory towards women because it was trained on the current existing employee base that were predominantly made up of
It's
males.
gonna give you more of what you already have.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So depending on how it was trained and how it was guided during the process, it can absolutely have character flaws and bias built into it for sure.
Mm. Yeah, I loved your TED talk at U of M Dearborn. You said that
Thank you.
AI had the potential to help people 10x their abilities.
Yes.
You were Grant Cardone and saying, "Hey, uh, we got a journalist here, a podcaster. Perhaps he calls himself James Dixon. How could someone like myself, how could I use AI to 10x what I'm doing?"
Yeah, I think you can ask it for ideas and questions. Give it, it will research. You don't have to give it. You can tell it to look up the trending current events that are happening in the US, in the world right now. Give me 10 podcast ideas. Who are some guests that I should bring on?
Hmm,
Notable people to have conversations about this topic. You can use it to help you frame out and build out the roadmap ahead. Who am I going to bring on the podcast over the next quarter, the next 5 months, 6 months? What are the topics I need to be thinking about in terms of the current events that are happening worldwide? Or even if you wanted to just focus on Michigan politics, evaluate the scene in Michigan. What are some real issues that people want to know more about? And it can help guide you, or at least give ideas to
right,
set up. Yeah,
right. Interesting. A few more use case questions. I'm
yeah,
thinking about the homemaker. I don't know why women listen to me, uh, because I am a guy and I'm pretty comfortable with the traditional roles of things. But there are women who do listen. There are some mom who might be listening while she's cooking food for her kids. Let's say your job is securing the home front in your life. How
yeah.
could such a person use AI?
Yeah, I think it depends on the things that interest you and what you're trying to accomplish during the course of the day, during the week. Asking it questions around how you can save money with
Mm,
groceries, how you can find ways to cut expenses in the household. There are plenty of moms out there and plenty of homemakers that are also social media influencers, and so it's kind of the same thing.
absolutely. Yeah.
What are some of the topics? What are some of the things that I should be talking about that people care about? What are some interesting hooks? What are some great openers that I should consider using for the next 5 videos that I'm creating? What are even something as simple and important as what are 10 different recipes that I can use or consider for dinner? So it's just the things that come
Yeah,
up
maybe
during
I have this, this, and this in my house. What could I do with it?
100%.
Mm,
Yes. any question that you have, anything that you're working on, any problem that you're trying to solve, anything that you're trying to overcome, use it as a resource, use it as a consultant, use it as something that, I don't want to say someone, something that you can bounce ideas off of, get inspiration from. It can be an expert for you in whatever domain you want it to be. So when you do the prompt, and the prompt is what you're asking it to do for you, the question that you have. Start it off. You're an expert homemaker that's been taking care of 3 kids for the last 10 years. So you're giving it context in the terms of the mindset that it needs to have. Or you're an experienced journalist that's been writing for the Wall Street Journal, the Detroit News, whatever it may be. These are the questions that I have for you. So give it that context, prime it, then you ask your question and what you're trying to get from it.
Absolutely. Someday I want to write this novel about a politician, and kind of my muse for it is Lynn Rivers, someone who starts off, Laura Cox, I think was another one, starts off as a local politician involved in their community because they see there's problems. And then they work their way up. Next thing you know, you're in Congress. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, you're head of your state party, something like that. A politician, maybe who's considering their next move in 2026, or considering a big leap, state senator to senator, whatever. How could a politician who's trying to figure out how to navigate today, how could they use AI?
Yeah, asking again, what are the problems that you're trying to solve? What are you trying to achieve? What are the issues that the constituents in my area uh, are concerned about? What are the problems? What are the issues that they want to hear on? What are some of the solutions that I could possibly come up with to help address these concerns? What is it what are some of the traits and the characteristics of the most successful politicians? You can ask all of these questions to help refine your strategy, your style. What are some of the things that I should be addressing? Here's the situation. Lay it out, whatever the situation may be, whatever the city, whatever the state, whatever the district is experiencing. Give me 5 responses to this problem. What should I be thinking about that I'm not thinking about? Questions like that, just to help get the juices flowing, to help maybe uncover some things that they weren't maybe necessarily thinking about.
Interesting. So I see, like you said, there's the data that it's based on, but it also sounds like the prompt and the structuring of that plays a huge role in what you get back.
Yeah, that is so important. Being able to prompt effectively will allow the response to be really more tailored and more laser focused to what you're looking for. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, you need to make sure that you're setting it up appropriately so you're getting a response back that can be as accurate as possible. It's so important to be able to do that. And some of it's trial and error. You can go back and forth until you refine it, until you zero in more. The first 3 prompts and the first 3 back and forths that you have, they don't have to be perfect. You can work towards tailoring it as you go further down the conversation. It takes a little bit of practice and time.
Yeah. Interesting. So it sounds like the data also trains on the prompt and gets smarter in conversation. If someone wanted to, an anti Elon Musk, wanted to throw sand in the gears of this, is there a way they could do that via prompting?
Yeah, it's possible. What you're talking about really is like almost like data poisoning. There are attacks.
Is there a kill switch that could be activated, basically?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are ways where people have been able to get in, and you're able to poison the responses that you're receiving, which is really why the owner,
Yeah.
whoever the company that has created this large language model, that you have to be able to protect the data that you have. You have to be able to
Yes.
protect the tools that you're creating, because if somebody were to get in from the outside, it can 100% be poisoned. I mean, AI is a neutral thing, and it really is in the hands of the person. What are the motives of the person that's using it? Because, like you said, it can be used for good, to 10x capabilities, to improve what it is that you're doing, whether it's personal or professionally, or it can be used to carry out attacks. It can be used for negative and bad purposes as well. AI is used to create phishing emails. You can create well crafted, very tailored
Mm.
wording and email and text messages that can go out that you typically would have seen with all sorts of spelling mistakes, errors in it. It's not coherent because it's coming from somebody
Or it
from another
doesn't sound
country.
like it's written in American English. We can
That's what it
tell
is.
Nigerian and Chinese and Russian. We can tell.
Yes. Yes. And that's what AI has done. It's really lowered the bar for anybody to take advantage of very advanced capabilities. So you could be from another country. English is definitely not your first language, but you're getting access to a tool that is very good in language. It's very good in drafting paragraphs, books, pages, whatever it may be. And now all of a sudden that text message that you're sending out or that phishing email that you're sending out is very convincing as opposed to, oh yeah, this doesn't make sense. I'm deleting this or I'm reporting this. That's the difference. It really increases the capability of the person that's using it.
Yeah. David, you're a thinker. You're also an author. One of your books is called Parental Advisory: How to Protect Your Family in the Digital Age of Identity Theft and Data Breaches. As a step parent of a young adult who was just a teenager, I always hated TikTok. I hate TikTok.
Yeah.
When I think of my fears regarding the internet, it's not so much about data breaches or identity theft. My concern is digital heroin.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, my parents' concern would have been the television. But the good thing about TV is you can turn it off or you can
Yeah.
leave the house and be away from it. You didn't have one in your hand at the time. So there was a way to corral that problem. You could unplug it from the wall. Now everyone has a phone in their pocket. TikTok, I mean, this thing, if you didn't have anxiety before using TikTok, you probably would after an hour of it. I've seen
Yeah.
people from 9 month old babies to 99 years old scroll away hours of their life at a time. How different is the threat environment from when we were teenagers? And how should a parent approach something like a TikTok?
James, this didn't even exist when we were kids, thinking back to when you had to actually ride your bike over to your friend's house to see if they were home and
Yes.
then actually communicate with their parents if they came to the door. Now it's just you hide behind the screen and it's swiping. It's a very different environment.
Kids will sit in the same room not making eye contact.
100%. I see it at the bus stop too. All the kids standing together, everybody's heads down and looking at their phone. No one's interacting with each other. AI plays a role here too, and I'm with you in terms of you not being concerned about maybe data breaches and identity theft being the first area of concern. The algorithm is so strong and it draws you in. That video that you spent a little bit of extra time on, that thing that you clicked on or liked or commented, it will continually feed you things that are in line with where you're showing the algorithm you're interested. So it keeps you, that's the job of these social media platforms. It's to keep you engaged, keep you involved for as long as possible. And you mentioned Facebook at the top of the program. It makes me think back to when Facebook was accused of purposely feeding divisive content because they
Yes.
knew that's what would get greater engagement as opposed to things that are more positive, things that will make people happy.
Or just not favoring anything and just letting people respond to what they respond to. They were
Yes,
pushing you in a particular direction.
that's it. That's exactly it. So it's that dopamine hit that you get from the interactions, from the notifications that pop up.
Yes, yes.
As a parent, even as adults. I mean, adults are addicted and they're pulled in, and it has such negative impact on your well-being overall. There's so many studies and issues going around with mental health and depression and anxiety. Social media is certainly a contributor to all of that. So I think being able to limit that time that children have on their phone, spending on social media, having some guardrails around what they can and cannot look at, who they can and cannot interact with. You're right. I mean, those are issues and those are very important things to safeguard.
I was put off recently. I mentioned it earlier to see someone use AI in an argument. That's like plagiarism. I mean, that's just it's so horrible. I would rather someone present a stupid argument that I disagree with
Yeah.
and work that's not their own. I want to know what you think, not what someone thinks. Um, and then I see that happen, and then I think about what our teachers used to say. that if everybody used their calculators all the time, nobody would actually know how to do the math when you had to start from a blank page.
Yeah.
Is there a similar risk that as more people use AI to fill the blank page, more of us are going to lose the capacity for original thought?
100%. Critical thinking is already something that I think is lacking for many. You have to be able to discern, you have to have original, creative thought, you have to have perspective. You can't just rush to AI
Right.
to get what your take should be on something.
Mm,
It's a great tool, and as I mentioned, it's the world's smartest intern that you can go to give work, and then you always have to fact check that work, but you can't let it do the thinking for you. You can't let it have all of the creativity for you. It's like an artist. If your job and your craft is to create beautiful imagery, are you just going to replace that by typing a couple of prompts into a program and then having it do that for you? So I think it's so important to maintain that creativity, maintain that critical thought that you have. Don't pass things off as your own, especially if it's not in your own voice, if it's not aligned with your perspective. There are many things that many times in issues where people lean on AI and they're sharing information that never would have come from them. They just simply went and they asked, and that's what they put forward. So I'm with you 100% on that. It is easy, and I think we will see people lose their original thought. People lose their creativity. People lose the ability to critically think for themselves. You can't overly rely on it, or that's exactly what's going to happen.
mm. David, we'll get you out of here on this one. What do you enjoy about Michigan?
Oh, I love Michigan seasons. There's nothing like having. Well, we have a long winter,
I
certainly.
was going to say spring is a myth, and this is the year that proves it. I have argued this for years. I am a
Yeah,
spring truther.
yeah,
And man, and even today, I'm looking at the weathercast. They're saying it could reach 40 degrees, but it's never going to feel more than 28 degrees.
I
That
know.
means it's 28 degrees. What are you talking about?
I know. Some of the seasons are so fleeting, and I feel like there's certain during the winter months and spring. There's a lot of gray days. There's no question about it. But I love seeing the fall, being in the fall, and the
Yeah,
color of the leaves, and of course all of the beauty that summer and spring, even though it's very short lived, has to offer. There's so much to do across the state of Michigan. Traverse City is gorgeous. You have all sorts of things going on the west side of the state. Certainly, all of the revival that's happened in the city of Detroit. There's just so much to enjoy. It's a great place to be.
absolutely. David, where can people learn more about yourself?
Yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn. It's at my name. Same thing on X. It's at David Derigiotis. You can find me there.
Awesome. David, thank you for taking the time. And I certainly learned a lot. And there's some things I'm going to be able to use going forward. I mean, this is, I have no problem using any tool. One
Yeah,
time I did use it, and I was sitting in my gym locker room and like about to head to Telegraph and 12 Mile. And there's a PetSmart and there's a Meyer, among other stores. But I
yeah,
was getting dog food. And so I just feed it into the thing. Which one's more likely to have better prices on dog food? They
yeah.
say probably more selection at PetSmart, cheaper prices at Meyer. I went to Meyer. It's not nothing. So, David, thank you for lighting the path.
You got it. Thanks, James, for having me. It was a pleasure.